Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are Beacon of Leadership. Thank you for joining us today on our podcast, Leaders Lighthouse. I am RJ Horner and a Beacon of Leadership, along with
Ernest Leong, a beacon of positivity. Welcome, guys. Happy Wednesday.
and we're still working on the self-confidence formula, carrying on that discussion. Linda's actually in the background, so we can get to introduce her too. Perfect timing.
Awesome.
Linda, thank you for joining us. We've just introduced ourselves, so if you can introduce yourself to people.
Yes, Linda Tilson, Beacon of Empowerment.
And as I was just about to tell people, we are talking about the self-confidence formula in the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. A powerful book in its own right, but this self-confidence formula, I've found that there is at least 20 topics within this 5-step process that we can just have a deep dive discussion on. We touched on our topic a bit last week, when we talked about manifestation, because one of the main things that holds us back from achieving our dreams, from reaching our reality, is kind of what we tell ourselves, the words that we use, the self-talk that we all have. We all tell ourselves things, and depending on how we're delivering it or what we're telling ourselves, that can affect our outcomes. And that can either affect our outcomes in a negative direction or a positive direction. Curtis, I know you know quite a bit about this topic. You were very excited to talk about it. And being our beacon of positivity, maybe you can speak a little bit about your thoughts on auto-suggestion.
Funny you should say that. I did my live today on it, so it's kind of fun. Basically, auto-suggestion is basically talking to yourself, learning how to be nice and positive towards yourself. Give yourself self-talk, self-positive talk, and being able to get over those negative hurdles for yourself, right? So that's all what it's based about. And from previous ones, we talk about some of your definite purpose. So if you can repeat that every day in a positive manner, they'll also help you build your confidence and help you have a better outlook on your life so that you're not always thinking of the bad stuff. You start looking at things in a good way, good things start coming towards you magically. And that's part of the auto-suggestion, because our subconscious minds are way more powerful than our conscious, as we've discussed in other podcasts. If people want to go check those out, go check us on Buzzsprout, right, RJ?
Yeah, and of course they can visit our YouTube channel, which we're going live on YouTube right now. So they can visit us on YouTube. Of course, like I said, we are backlogged on our podcast. So I do want to get caught up on that, but we are backlogged, and I do have every intention of making the effort to get those out there and available for the public. Especially, we haven't even done these episodes that we're doing on the self-confidence formula. But I like that you talk about telling yourself in a positive manner, in a enlightening manner, and being nice to yourself, because quite often we're telling ourselves these negative things like, I can't do this, or that's beyond me, or that's, above my pay grade, or so many other things that we tell ourselves that keep us from reaching that heights that we want to go to. I know personally, the one thing that used to keep me back before I started learning about personal development, I used to put my foot down and say, absolutely not. Right?
Yep.
Little did I know how much harm this one statement was doing to me, right? If I put limitations on things, I can't reach, I can't expand, I can't go beyond this absolutely not limit that I've set for myself. So, Linda, you've been very quiet and waiting to chime in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on auto-suggestion.
Yes, I really like what you said about how you can expand. And I'm going to say that what you do when you speak to yourself in a way that's less than positive, you are shrinking, you're going backwards, you are stunting your growth. And so many people have those statements that they use with themselves. I can't do this. I won't do this. That's not acceptable. You know, all these different things that you can do. And, you know, you wouldn't dare be mentoring or guiding somebody through a conversation and speak to them like that. So why do we do it to ourselves? And we're all guilty of doing that. I was doing it the other day. I was really frustrated and I was doing the same thing. And I'm like, why am I doing that? So I think it's okay, you know, at some point to acknowledge some of these things that are going on with you that, you know, may be frustrating to you, but you don't hang out there.
Nope.
So because it wouldn't be very practical or reasonable to say never to talk negatively to yourself, but pay attention to when you are and try to shut that off so you don't stay in that state.
Or try to switch it up to more
Yes.
positive and
Interrupt that
empowering,
pattern.
more of an empowering thought or sayings to yourself, right? But auto-suggestion also is part of the self-hypnosis techniques as well, right? So you can probably use those too on yourself. Probably like early in the morning before you go to bed, you start saying, hey, you know, in the morning you might say, hey, you know what, I have a great day today. I'm going to make this the best day ever, or something similar that may work for you, right? Each of us have our own things, and then that will help our self-confidence too, right? Because if you're not confident in yourself, you can't expect to do other empowering things for other people, right? Especially as a leader, you got to be one step ahead, right? So I think as leaders, that's one of those things we got to be, even though, like, you know, we do all have bad days. We just got to be able to push ourselves to having it better. Because a lot of times shit hits the fan and we got to start getting the shovels out, right? Start figuring out where to put that shit. Basically, right? I'm sure we've all been there at some point. So, like, even I'm sure
we're modeling the way, right?
Yep.
You know, and we, as leaders, we model the way. And so if we come in and show the behavior that encourages other people to do that too. And, you know, I set intentions for the day. That's my biggest thing. I'm going to go out and initiate change. I'm going to go in and have powerful conversations. And when you do that, even when you get thrown a roadblock or, as you said, shit hits the fan, you are able to move through it much easier. And it's all about finding that grounding too, I would say.
Yeah.
I would add that too.
You'll put a Teflon coating in the morning, right?
Yes.
And so when you talk about shoveling it, you know what I mean? What came to mind was, and here's again, a negative affirmation that we do use is NIMBY, right? You've heard the term not in my backyard.
Yeah.
And that's a negative affirmation. You're saying, I don't want this stuff here. Take it away. I'm not going to have it. But look, the other billboard shit happens, right? It does happen. And I've heard the term, you know, all of these causes, issues, concerns, they're all, and I've heard this term, and you could turn it around to be a positive, is conditions. They're all conditions that we're faced with. We're going to be faced with, regardless of what happens, right? What our best intentions are. Like you say, stuff happens. It just does. Like I've been going through refinancing and all this stuff with my house. And let me tell you, it was the experience from hell. Just everything, all these roadblocks kept coming up, all of these things that back, you know, 2-3 years ago would have, like, I would have lost it. I would have been at their office with a MK47 going, who's the guy who's handling my mortgage? You know what I mean? But
oh my God.
I treated them as these conditions, right? They are things that I had to face, deal with, and accept in order to move forward. We did get the deal closed eventually, but at the same time, it was just, you know, all of these things that could prevent me if I saw them as negative activities or negative conditions, as I, you know, like to say, turn it into a positive, right? Because we're going to have to face with these conditions. And then, of course, we start our day. We're all commuters. We all have to go to work, you know. So what's that drive like? You know what I mean? Somebody's going to piss you off. Somebody's going to cut you off. There is going to be traffic that's not going as fast as you want to be when you're checking your clock and trying to get there by 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. whenever you start. these are going to happen to us. And how you set your self-talk can affect how you get through it.
Yep.
Right? You can be, get out of my way, and slamming on the horn or tearing up the steering wheel. You could be this way. Or you can accept them as conditions.
Yep.
Like sometimes I get people who cut me off, and I've even said something like, "Oh, I hope a cop gets on you." You know what I mean? And deals. But then I think, no, that's wishing negativity on somebody else, and I change it to say, you know what?
Or whatever.
I hope you get to your day, in a timely manner. You know what I mean? And just wish well upon them rather than think of that as a negative that could affect me and my outcomes.
Yeah, I always look at from their point of view too. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you go, "Oh God, I'm late," type thing. Sort of relate in that way. It's like if I was that person, I'd probably do the same retarded moves in traffic because, oh crap, I'm late 5 minutes. I've ever put the pedal to the metal and do stupid moves in traffic, right? So yeah, therefore you cut people off, or you do like 3 lane changes, get off the exit. Oh crap, my exit's here. You do 3 lane changes, like, oh, I guess that guy almost missed his exit. So sort of you look like maybe the other way around too, right? It's not necessarily changing, it's basically changing the situation to view from that person's point of view, because maybe they're in a hurry and they say, oh shoot, I missed my exit, or yeah, I'm 5 minutes late. If I don't hurry up, I'm gonna get fired today. And things we just don't know, right? So sometimes what people do, we just don't know. But if we were in that situation, like, how would I handle it? It's like, oops, sorry, oh my God, I feel so bad. But maybe that person feels bad too, right? That they're doing something stupid like that because they're late and they're just trying to do what they do to get there so they won't be fired from the job or whatever. You never know, right?
Absolutely.
That's
We're all rushing because we're all trying to live the same life, right? They may be, oh, if I'm 15 minutes late, I won't get paid for the day. Oh, I might lose $10 million because I need to be at this meeting. You know what I mean? There are major concerns that people are having. So you can't let it affect you because they're living their life. They're doing their thing. So
point of view, yeah.
Again, we're all just trying to go through it. So then, to turn that around, we've been talking about the negative sides of it because we want people to realize those things that are happening to us. We want them to realize that we're talking to ourselves this way.
Yep.
But how do we turn it into a positive direction? How do we talk to ourselves nicely, as you said, Curtis, when otherwise we might be pissed off, angry, frustrated?
Well, like first one's point of view of other people, they reflect on them as if it was your situation. And another one, just use affirmations. Just find something like Linda uses intentions. We can use affirmations. You can use self-talk. Anything that you can think will change your mood. It could be even just thinking, okay, you know what? 2 weeks ago, I was at a comedy show and I saw Chris Rock. I pissed my pants laughing. So there could be something bad happening in your life. And he's like, oh yeah, Chris Rock said this funny thing. Then you might have a little giggle with him and that might alleviate your mood for a minute. It doesn't change the situation that it may be bad, but at least then you're not like in a bad space of your personal mind. And therefore maybe you can actually take, hey, listen, I know I'm upset about something this, maybe I can change it and maybe have a different look at it. Because sometimes we look at something very narrowly and then maybe just by doing something opposite, maybe having a giggle about something dumb, and then it could say, okay, oh, hey, I should be thinking like this way, not that way, because in reality, that's probably not the right thing to do. So like, some people decide to do whatever, like say, I don't know, whatever stupid activity they want to decide to do, like say go bungee jumping in water, let's say. All your friends say, oh, no, you're stupid. Don't do it. But that person might have that idea. It's like, you know what? I'm scared of heights. I need to do this. I need to get over that fear. But everybody else to think you're stupid, right? But in yourself, you're convincing yourself like, I can do this. I can make this happen. I got to do this. I want to get over this fear. I'm going to make it happen. So there could be all those negative people on you about thinking that something's wrong, but you might need to fit a goal or an objective for your personal self to get it done. And those can help you get past what other people are saying in a negative manner towards you. So I don't know if you guys ever did anything like that. Something like, you know that your friends are telling you, oh, don't do that. That's dumb. Oh, don't start a business. It's dumb. It's like, oh, I'm doing it. I don't care what you say. Because there's definitely something that and you believe in and keep on telling yourself that belief, it's going to happen, right? Like, look at us, RJ. We started business 2 years ago. We're not like, oh, I don't know if we're really going to make it, but we just kept on pushing forward. Look where you are now today. We're doing good, right? But again, sometimes it's a self-belief and a repetition of what you want, right? So if you keep on repeating, say, I can do this, or whatever you're thinking of, you just use repetition consistently.
And celebrate the wins along the way, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely, Linda. That is great.
And so on that topic, like they say, if you're hearing a lot of people telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, or, what are you doing? Or you're crazy for doing that, then you're going the right way, right?
Mhm.
Because you're doing the things outside of the norm that people normally do. So you're crazy. You're one step above sanity, really. So on that topic, let's read out the third principle of the self-confidence formula, which is, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. So 10 minutes, and and that's all that means, is spending 10 minutes in contemplation with yourself of, how can I do better? How can I perform better? What is it going to take to step up, step forward, and be the person that I know I could or want to be?
Perfect. So,
And we all can create 10 minutes. I mean, it's a choice, right?
You can't create 10 minutes, right? Because you can't make more time.
I guess you can't make more time, but you can create the space in the 10 minutes.
Right.
can
Yeah.
say
We
that.
can always find 10 minutes out of our
Yes.
time to vote to something so
you just
vital
you have
to our
10 minutes.
development.
You make yourself have 10 minutes to yourself.
Yes.
Make it happen no matter what. Even though, whatever, maybe it's waking up 10 minutes early to do this helps, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And I like what you said earlier, Curtis, about finding the happiness, finding those happy moments. When you were talking about the Chris Rock jokes, I thought of, I don't know if I have anybody out there watches or used to watch Jerry Seinfeld,
Yeah.
but he used to have these things about, who are these people? You know what I mean? People who, just they're in the lineup
Funny.
at the movie theater, and they're complaining because this is happening, and they're trying to get on time to the theater. Who are these people? And that's what I think. It makes me laugh, and it makes me smile in a situation that otherwise might be aggravating. And I can tell you that, once upon a time, before I started this growth journey, before I started talking to myself in a positive way, I was one of those people.
Mhm.
I was the guy who would
You were
snap at a
Jerry
moment's notice because something doesn't go right at the public convenience store. You know what I mean?
God, yeah.
And so, but now I look back at that going, oh my God, I can't believe I was that person.
Mhm.
But there are many people out there right now who may very well be in those similar situations. They may be that guy pounding on the steering wheel in traffic because they're having a bad day. And their day, which started off that way, is
Yep.
going to continue that way because they are allowing that aggravation. There's the persistent thought that they're holding that's going to continue.
Yeah. I think sometimes people forget that they actually have control of their life, and they just let things happen and say, hey, I can change this. You can change anything if you want to. It may not be
Yeah.
as pleasant, but at least you can smooth out the bumps in the road a bit, right?
Yep.
Sure.
A lot of people think that something's done to them. And so you got to get out of that mindset. Things
Yeah,
aren't done to you. You can respond any way you want to, and that gives you your power.
For sure.
Yeah. I remember as a bus driver, I had one guy who, he was at a stop flagging me down, but it wasn't one of our transit stops, right? It wasn't my public transit service, but he's at another stop waving me, trying to get me to stop the bus for him. So I kept on going, you know what I mean? So at the end of the stop, I guess he'd caught a couple more services that were actually faster than mine. He was at the end of the stop waiting for me to give me heck for not stopping for him. And I said, listen, you were not one of our stops. I'm not in a position to stop for this. I'm in a left lane to turn left at this light, not in a position to stop for you. He said, why are you being such a... Now, I'm going to let people know this is a cursing episode, by the way. We've been talking, some negative language. But he says, you know what? Why are you being such an asshole? And I'm like, I'm just doing my job, sir. Like, if you were at one of our stops, I would have stopped for you. You'd be on my bus. So finally, he's like, oh, you're not listening to me. He says, I know what kind of asshole I'm going to deal with all day. I thought, you know what? I know what kind of asshole you're going to deal with all day too.
Mhm.
Because truthfully, he was being the a-hole, right? He was the guy who's causing the aggravation. He waited at the end of the line so he could have his words with me. Meanwhile, I was just doing my job,
Wow.
being as efficient as I can. But again, it's all about your mindset, how you talk to yourself, how you handle it, and how you allow yourself to sit with that or change it into a positive, more evolving, more happy and pleasant circumstance.
That's an interesting story, RJ. That guy had to be so right that he had to tell you.
Yeah.
He was willing to go above and beyond whatever he had to do. It's like, dude, why waste your energy? But he had to be right for whatever reason and talk to you about the situation.
He had to have his
Even though-
words. But I think when I gave him back that quip, I think he realized how wrong he was
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
because he got frustrated and walked away.
He's right.
Right?
Damn it. Why did I waste my time?
Because honestly, that's the self-talk that we're talking about. That's the auto-suggestion.
Yeah.
He was telling himself look, it was probably almost an hour or more from the time he tried to wave me down until the time he met me at the end of the stop.
Oh
So
my
all
God.
of that time, what was he thinking? What was he telling himself?
All sorts of negativity, no doubt.
Right.
Pretty furious when he met up with you, right?
But, he could have thought, okay, well, I wasn't meant to be on this bus. What do I need to do to get because he got there faster than I did. Right. So what if he just thought, okay, so what are my next options? Where do I go to get my bus and be on time and move forward? Right. So that he could have had a pleasant day. He could have been experiencing some positivity. Instead, he spent the next hour and change in a negative spirit and not only in a negative spirit, but like Linda said, he was receding because he was just making himself angrier and more frustrated. Whereas compared to when he was flagging me down till the time he met me, how had his mood changed? It certainly went backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Interesting.
So then again, you know what? We're talking about the words we tell ourselves. We are in a habit. Not everybody. We've done work on ourselves. And that's not to say we always think the right thing or we always put it in a positive frame of mind. We are not that evolved.
Yep.
I was going to say we're not perfect, but we're perfect in our imperfections, right? But we're not that evolved where we get it right 100% of the time. Like life affects us. We have conditions that we have to deal with. But when we frame it in such a manner that we're able to realize this is the self-talk, this is how I'm adding to my auto-suggestion, this is how I'm affecting my mind. And then, like I said, the cognitive behavioral therapy, the CBT process, where you can change your thought process and evolve to make them more powering, right? What is the thought or attitude or behavior that I'm exhibiting? How is this affecting me? What is it doing to me? How is it affecting others? And then what is a more empowering thought? What is a better way or behavior that I could do to make this more positive or more empowering? So those 3 steps can help. It changed my life. I will preach this till the end of the world. That one simple process. Now, you can write it on a spreadsheet, right? Positive thought or attitude or action. How is this affecting me? And then more empowering thought or action. Those 3 things written down. And if you have to do that, I was able to, through auto-suggestion, through the habit of doing this over and over and over and over again, able to make it so not to say that I don't have negative thoughts, but when I have them, they are almost immediately eliminated from my mind or changed into a more powering thought.
Awesome.
So anybody else have other thoughts on this topic of auto-suggestion and the thoughts or the words that we're telling ourselves?
I think that's good.
Especially in the realm of how do we make it more positive? How can somebody out there who's pissed off and angry right now take this topic of auto-suggestion and turn it into a positive thing?
I just say, think of something funny. Anything. If you're angry about something, try to switch it up to something funny or something that's more pleasant. It could be like, maybe when you're a kid, so maybe you're like, climb trees was fun, right? Do something like that. Or maybe on a swing, you're a kid or young teenager, maybe something happened in your life that was fun. Like, maybe you kissed your first boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe that was really enjoyable, or maybe it was like a good thing that you felt or feeling. Use that. Use something from your previous, like something in your past that makes you happy or had some like good feelings and use it in your current state of mind. And it will just help. It won't like change everything. At least will give you some like perspective that will switch it up so that, hey, maybe I am being too angry, or hey, maybe there is a different way to look at this instead of like this one path with blinders on. It's like, okay, think of something funny or whatever and take the blinders off. It's like, oh, hey, look, there's more than what I was looking at before, right? And sometimes people get angry and upset and all they see is like maybe a red collar or tunnel vision, or some people have the different aspects that happen to them when they're in anger, right? As you know, State RJ, that sometimes you get angry, you just only see one thing. And then sometimes, you're just like, okay, 1 second, take a deep breath or whatever it may be. It's like, hey, oh yeah, okay, right, I'm getting angry. I don't need like this. And then you'll see, okay, maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. And then you start thinking of other possibilities that will help you, right?
Mhm.
And I
And
would
then
just,
don't forget repetition, right? Saying it over and over again so that eventually you develop the habit.
Yeah, absolutely. Linda?
yeah, and just acknowledge it. And this is going to be the double negative. Don't
Mhm.
beat yourself up for realizing that you're using negative self-talk, because
Yep.
that's not going to help you any. Just like, okay, I'm being negative on myself. I forgive myself. Okay, what can I find that can be good? And I really like the idea of just thinking about something funny or something really enjoyable or some kind of other emotion that will turn off the negative and turn it into something that will move us forward.
Visualization, maybe, yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know what? I'm a very serious guy. I always have been. I grew up early, didn't have much of a chance to have fun. I always say, I wish somebody could teach me how to have fun, how to be a little kid again. Somebody was in a mastermind I was in earlier today. Somebody brought up a joke, and I think it was a George Carlin joke. I picture him when I think of this. They were talking about how they had met Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney came up, and they were shaking their hand and saying, "How you doing?" And in physical reality, he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm doing great." And he's shaking his hand, but he says, "Inside, I'm a little 6-year-old girl going, you know what I mean?" So just finding ways to have fun and be silly and let that out, right?
Yep.
Like the energy and the joy I felt just from doing that little exercise right now. It changes your spirit and your mood so that you're in a better place. You're in a happier place. And of course, don't forget positive affirmations, right? There's nothing like the power of positive affirmations, starting with I am, right?
Right.
I am powerful. I am great. I am happy. I am, and keep going on these I ams, and you'll tell yourself that I am this. I am enough. I am capable,
That's right.
right?
Don't
And you'll
forget, we
start to
also
believe it.
have 21 affirmations on our website people can sign up for as well.
Oh, look at you pitching again, eh?
Okay.
But that is a
That's our
freebie that
website.
people can have. So yeah, there is affirmations that will help you become positive and change your thought process.
Check them out. It's pretty cool looking. All right. This has been pretty good conversation tonight, RJ. I love it.
Yeah, I think it is, and we'll continue this conversation next week again. Um, there is a couple more topics we can discuss here around auto suggestion, so we will talk about it next week. Please continue to join us. Please watch us on YouTube. Don't forget, Curtis.
Hit the like button and ring the bell.
Ring the bell. I love hearing those words. Don't forget to ring the bell to subscribe to our channel. Please visit us on Buzzsprout. I think it's beaconofleadership.buzzsprout.com, and you can download our episodes there. And I will have new episodes uploaded very soon. So please continue to join us for that. Again, until next time, I'm RJ Horner, Beacon of Life and Leadership, joined by
Curtis Leong. And with our podcast, you also go to our website, beaconofleadership.com/podcast, and check them out there as well. All right.
And Linda Tilson, Beacon of Empowerment.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Continue the work,
Thank you.
continue the great work, and continue to tell yourself positive things. So thank you for joining us. Until next time, better days ahead.
Be awesome.